little surprised by this, Gronkster? Just because, to me, it's like, are the Patriots competing when you make moves like this? Like, it reminds me of Belichick, Logan Mankins kind of deal. It's to get a piece to compete and win a Super Bowl. Like, is that where they are? And, like, what were your thoughts when you saw this go down?
I mean, I thought it was a good trade for New England. I mean, J.C. Jackson, he's been there for quite a few years, and then he went over to San Diego. I mean, not San Diego, the L.A. Chargers. I get them confused once in a while, but he was absolutely stinking with the Chargers, though. He just wasn't thriving at all. I felt like the system in New England, they put him in the places to thrive out on the field. You know, they put him in schemes to thrive. They put him in schemes to succeed. So he's back with the Patriots. They need him. Christian Gonzalez, I think, is one of the best defensive backs in the NFL. I think it might be one of the best draft picks in Belichick's career, hands down. Christian Gonzalez, a great player. It's just very unfortunate to see him go down. I would say that's the only downfall for Christian, though. He can cover anyone, but he's tiny. So if he starts getting banged up in the run game and tackling guys, that could be, hurtful down the future if these injuries keep happening because he's not that big of a guy. But it's great to see him play. But J.C. Jackson, he fits the mold, and he definitely replaces Christian Gonzalez and helps the defense.
What can you tell me about J.C. Jackson? Because, I mean, last time he was in New England, he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Like, he was really good. You played with him, of course, and he was hurt last year, but he was a healthy scratch for the past 2 weeks. It doesn't work out with L.A. for whatever reason. We can point to Staley or not. It's kind of crazy because yesterday I was talking about Belichick with Robert Mays of The Athletic. He's a really, really savvy guy, and he was saying on the show, like, one thing about Bill Belichick is, like, some of those draft choices have not panned out, some of that. But I was like, those midseason trades that he does, like, are marquee things. Like, you got the Patrick Chungs, you got the Deion Branches, like, you got the Jamie Collinses back and forth, like, to the Browns, back from the Browns, help me win another Super Bowl. Why do you think this happens in New England more than anyone else, even without Caserio? Like, that Belichick sort of is maybe not the best drafter, but, like, can go fish in the middle of the season.
Yes, he's really good at it, that's for sure. And J.C. Jackson, we got to remember, he was a free agent coming out of college. He was signed as a free agent. He wasn't even drafted. And to see him just succeed in the Patriots defense throughout those, I think it was 4 years that he was there before he went off to the Chargers, was just tremendous. I feel like they understand who J.C. Jackson is. He's a guy that needs to be put in the scheme and be able to succeed and know what to do exactly every single play. And that's what the Patriots know about him. They know how he reacts to things, and he's just a great fit. He's a great mold for the Patriots defense. They know how to use him the right way.
And I think I was talking myself out of him, making a move like this. Like, are they competing? Are they going for it? Like, why else would you do that? But really with JC, like, you're getting a veteran, right? Bill has to like him because he's going back to get him. But there's also, like, that element of, or am I overblowing this? Like, Bill wanting to bring in somebody because they need a spark. They need something. And can JC be at least somebody in that locker room, like like an Edelman, like obviously Devin McCourty's not there, like somebody who can sort of, like, get a grip of everybody?
Yes, that's a good point. Are they competing? Why did he make this trade? Because they're not just getting J.C. Jackson; they're also getting a huge contract as well. I think he's making what is it, Kay?
I don't know.
It's about $15 million a year J.C. Jackson's making, and he didn't want to pay him from the beginning, and now he's paying him now because Christian Gonzalez went down. But it's beginning of the season. Yes, they are 1-3, but Coach Belichick will not give up. He's going to make the trades he needs to make right now in order to compete this year. They are competing. Their defense is very solid. I'm sure he's hoping that the offense gets rolling more, and then they'll start winning some games. But he wants to make sure that defense is up to par, and that trade with J.C. Jackson shows that Belichick is not going anywhere this year, and he's going to keep on competing this year until the season is over.
Let's hear Bill talk about, you mentioned the offense, so here's Bill on Mac Jones.
How would you define his decision-making yesterday?
All right, well, I mean, everything gets highlighted by one or two plays, one way or the other, but like in general, I think he makes pretty good decisions. He sees things well, but obviously as a team, we can't win turning the ball over 3 times in a game, 2 for touchdowns. So we got to do a better job of that. That's everybody's responsibility. The quarterback's part of it, so is everybody else.
Read between the lines for me there.
Yes, he didn't want to go too hard on Mac Jones, but he wanted to go hard as possible. He wanted to kind of throw him under the bus, but he kind of didn't want to because, it's your player. You won't want to lose confidence in them. But I would say that there was definitely some mistakes that Mac Jones has made that was probably brought up throughout the week on not to make those mistakes. And when you make mistakes that are brought up throughout the week, Coach Belichick gets really frustrated with you. He got benched last year, and Bailey Zappi went in. He just got benched 2 days ago or 3 days ago when they were playing the Cowboys, and that's strike two. So if he gets benched again and he makes another mistake that they've been, going over throughout the week, and then he shows up on Sunday and makes that mistake, he's going to get benched a third time, and that will be strike three, and he will officially be out as the quarterback of the New England Patriots then.
Are these rules like that Bill abides by? Does he make it known to players, or have you seen that before? Like it's a 3 strikes you're out situation with him? Seriously?
I mean, you can give it lean or take. Sometimes there's players 1 strike you're out. Sometimes there's players there's 5 strikes you're out. I mean, it depends where you're drafted, what you have done for the organization throughout the years, all that good stuff. What kind of person you are as well. It's just all about the feel. But I would say with Mac Jones, he's a great person. I love Mac Jones. I think he's a great quarterback as well. And he's going to give him, a good amount of chances before he truly benches him. As long as Mac Jones is showing week in and week out that he wants to improve. But eventually, he's going to have to bench him if he keeps making the silly mistakes and costing them games. But I think Mac Jones is going to come through. I think he's going to. I think he's probably learned from this game. He's taken a big punishment after last week. So I think he's going to come through, get in that book, and not make those silly mistakes.
How many strikes did you have with Bill?
I got about 10 strikes with Bill, but the thing was with me is that I always showed up on the field that week right after I got one of the strikes. So I learned from my lessons. I learned from my mistakes. I've had many strikes off the field as well, but it didn't matter because I showed up and I was red zone Robbie G. I came to play every single week. And then right when he would get on me, and then I would show up to practice and he'd just turn around and shake his head like, he got me once again. The Gronk got me. He's showing up. He's catching touchdowns. He's catching 30-yard bombs down the field. I thought he was going to absolutely suck after the weekend he just had after I saw it all over the internet. But now let me tell you, he just showed up. I can't say anything. He's back up to the bat.
Who had more strikes than you?
Who got more strikes
Who was
than me?
allowed more strikes? Like
Who was allowed
yeah.
more strikes? Oh, Julian had plenty of strikes
I
as
was
well.
gonna say.
He threw Julian out many times, but Julian always fought his way back in because Julian's a fighter, and that's why we love Julian. That's why we want him as a teammate. But I would say Julian got the most. And then, there's some guys that got 1 strike and they were thrown out. Like if you're a rookie free agent already on the bubble and you're messing up in camp on the field and off the field, boom, first strike, you're out.
We love to hear it. So, Mac Jones, you got 1 more strike left, it sounds like. Rob Gronkowski is one of the best mathematicians the NFL has ever seen. That's true. You're like a savant when it comes to numbers. So I'm taking, and you're great at parlays. So I'm just riding the Gronk wave. One more benching, 1 more Zappy appearance, and you out of here, even though we do love you, Mac Jones, and wishing you all the best. Now, you thought that the Cowboys would win the Super Bowl. I don't know what to make of them. And we have the Super Bowl of the regular season potentially this week. We got the Cowboys. They're going to the Bay Area, taking on the Niners. A lot of playoff drama between the two. San Francisco always comes up on top, and FanDuel currently has these Niners favored by 3.5. This Niners team right now looks better than they did any time last year. What is the recipe for your Super Bowl winner to give San Francisco their first blemish of the year?
I really don't think there is a recipe right now. San Francisco is way too hot. They got such a solid defense. They're playing on full cylinders right now. Everything is clicking. Their offense, with Christian McCaffrey as the running back / wide receiver he is, he can do it all out on the field. He can even pass. He can even block in the pass protection if he needs to. But they got tight ends with George Kittle. They got wide receivers. They're not going anywhere. Dallas is not winning this game. Yes, I got Dallas going to the Super Bowl, but San Fran is just clicking on all cylinders right now, and San Fran's going to win this game.
The Niners, I'm looking right now, they haven't lost a regular season game since October 23rd of last year. They are that's almost a full calendar year of them winning in the regular season, and they do look better. But I will say the Cowboys without Trayvon Diggs are still somehow forcing turnovers and making it happen. But it becomes between the two, and it's, of course, home field advantage. I got to give it to San Francisco, too. Speaking of predictions you made on this very show, not under the influence of champagne, your Steelers to take the AFC North take. It's early. We want to give you the opportunity to sort of talk to them, talk to yourself. Do you want a mulligan on that? You don't? They're not looking too hot at the moment. All
I
right.
don't take mulligans.
What do you
I
think?
jump in when I hit the golf ball in the water. I don't care how many alligators are down there. I'm like Chubbs. I'm like Happy Gilmore. I'll go swim in that pond and go get my ball. I don't take mulligans. But I'm going to stick with the Steelers. It's still early in the season. Last year, they finished the year 7-2, and they absolutely started awful last season as well. They got Coach Mike Tomlin. He's a winner. Never had a losing season ever in the history that he's been the coach for the Steelers. So I'm still going to stick with my guns and go with the Steelers. I think they're going to pull it off this week and then start striving from there and just keep building blocks and getting better every single week. But if they don't pull it off this week, then I might have to change my answer, but
if they lose to the Ravens,
I'm not going that way, Kay. They're going to pull it off.
You're picking the Steelers in this game. Kenny Pickett's banged up. Their offense is a mess. Matt Canada, people are calling for him to get fired. This is the hill you're going to die on if the Steelers don't beat the Ravens this week.
Why? Mitch Trubisky, baby.
That's fair.
He went to the Buffalo Bills and learned under my favorite coach, Coach Dable, when he was with the Bills. And now he's going to come back to the Steelers and use what he was taught and beat the Ravens,
All right,
baby.
we'll see. Let's stay in the AFC North. It's unfortunate, but I know that you love Joe Burrow. I love hearing you talk about Joe Burrow. And it has been really horrendous out there. And even your Pats had an 11-5 season without Mr. Tom Brady, and we had Matt Castle do his thing out there. Joe Burrow, he's really good. They should probably bench him. I think they're 1-3. They have the bye week in 2 weeks. They can beat Arizona without Joe Burrow, but it sounds like they want to start him. Do you think that is a mistake to start Joe Burrow as unhealthy as he looks out there and as poorly as they're running the ball? I want to say committing to the run.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's a mistake if he started, but I think the smart thing would be is to bench him. And I wouldn't say it's really benching him. That's kind of not the definition to go with. I would just say sit him for the next 2 weeks because then they have the bye week 7. Yes, rest him. His calf has been hampering him. You could tell out on the field that he's not 100%. Why risk it? He's the highest paid player in the league. He's your franchise quarterback. He just signed a new deal this year, $55 million. You want to protect that guy. Yes, take 2 games off. He's got a little calf injury. He's hampered. You don't want that lingering throughout the whole season. And let me tell you, when you take those weeks off and you rest and you come back 1,000% in week 8 then because they have the bye week 7, everyone's going to forget that you didn't even play in those games, week 5 and week 6. And plus, like you said, they're facing the Cardinals. They can beat them without him. And if they can't beat them without him, well, then their playoff hopes shouldn't even be there.
That's what I said yesterday. I talked to Ted Karras. We pre-recorded an interview with him. We'll show you what him and the offensive line say they need to do. But, commit to the run, adjust your play calling if he's going to be in there. But, gosh, I really wish they had a better backup situation than Browning to go into this thing knowing that, you're a big quarterback and how important the backup position even is. He's averaging a career low 4.8 yards per pass attempt. That's almost half of what he put up back in 2021. We got to get on a right path with him and hopefully figure it out. Okay, Gronk, there's a couple more games I want to hit with you here as we preview week 5. We're going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to tell you the matchup, and you tell me, you're going to complete the sentence. The upset happens if. So how can the underdogs get it done? Got it?
All right.
We're going to start with your boy Dable, just flinging surfaces out there left and right. He goes to Miami to take on this Dolphins team, coming off a bad loss to your Bills, too. Miami's going to be angry, right? They're going to be revved up for this game. So Daniel Jones, 11 sacks in, him and Dable can pull off the massive upset if...
The only way they pull off the massive upset is if the running backs and the other wide receivers join up with Tyreek Hill and retire early, like he said last week, and join the film industry and become actors like Tyreek Hill wants to be. That's the only way, and they start that tomorrow and they retire this week. Yes, that's the only way that the Giants beat the Dolphins. The only way.
I just don't even know.
Start a new career.
So you're saying there's a chance? Dumb and dumb. I mean, Tyreek sounded pretty...
It's not the Tyreek Hill. I feel like, he has a lot of passion with what he wants to do after football, and I feel like he can
more power to him.
His fellow teammates. Yeah.
We'll
see what happens.
Yeah. Who was on the...
He wants to be an actor.
Who was on that podcast with him? Was it Mike Evans? You're boys with Mike Evans. Mike Evans was like, yeah, man, more power. What would you did you hear that?
I mean, the actors, they just what, the strike's over, right? The writing strike is
Oh,
over.
God, I don't know if that's
there's
quite-
a chance that he
yeah.
retires.
You're
Yeah.
right. And I'm glad those writers get to get back in that room because some of those storylines, they're deep. They have a lot of depth to them. There's a lot of ins and outs. The guy fixes the cable. It's a whole of the Big Lebowski line. Okay, Matthew Stafford's Rams are at home taking on the Eagles, but they find themselves at a 4.5-point underdog situation against the undefeated Birds. So the Rams keep the fun going. The Rams pull off the Puka Stafford upset
As if they win the turnover battle. LA, they can't have any turnovers. They cannot afford that versus, the Eagles. They're too good of a team. And the Eagles sometimes turn the ball over. If they just win the turnover battle by 2, I would say that the Rams can pull it off.
The Rams traded away Jalen Ramsey, they lost Bobby Wagner, and they still somehow have a top 10 defense in the NFL this year. It's really, really impressive. Okay, last one here, Gronk. The Vikings, I don't know what to make of them either. They're home underdogs. That sucks. That just sucks. Have you ever been a home underdog? No. Have you ever played on a bad team? I was thinking about that in my Bears because they're playing Thursday night. Gronk, you've never played on a bad team.
I never played on like a really bad team before. No, I played on like a losing team where, you don't go to the playoffs. You win just a couple games, but I never really played on a bad team.
Must be
But
nice.
I don't think Minnesota's a bad team. And I'm not going with Minnesota as being the underdogs. I think Minnesota will win this game. They have enough star power to pull it off, and they play to their competition. That's what the Minnesota Vikings do. They got Justin Jefferson. He might beat the record for most yards this year. They got Kirk Cousins, a very solid veteran quarterback, and they got a decent defense, so they can pull it off. I think they will. They're going to win this game. They need it bad.
I mean, you talked a lot about Kirk Cousins. We'll see if it happens. They lead the league with 11 turnovers so far this season, so they got to hang on to the ball and hopefully get it done. But that's amazing. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.